Like Santa Claus is proof advertising works. Because I mean, generally, Santa Claus is a product of Coca-Cola. The red and white Santa Claus that we know, who brings gifts to everybody at the end of the year, is a product of Coca-Cola's marketing department. It fucking works. Once it hits, a campaign is just as effective as propaganda. But we forget that things started in advertising, I guess.
It starts with talking, and then they just keep talking. So they never introduce the show. They just keep talking. Well, look at this. It's a brand new year. Welcome back to They Just Keep Talking. Hi, Happy New Year. We got Sydney and Thea and Blossom in the house. Sydney, you want to say anything? Woo! Woo, she said. Happy New Year. Happy 2024. I hope you guys had a great end of your 2023. Lots of people continue to celebrate throughout the year that they were living, and I think that's great. But if you are done with 2023, let's move on. 2024 is here. Let's get started.
We're going to do a small introverted New Year's Eve.
Nice.
Which is basically just like snuggling in together with a lot of alcohol and chilling.
Tucked in with a bunch of bottles sticking around you.
But apparently now the plan is to dress up and then get tucked in. So to dress up for a New Year's party at home and then get snuggled in blankets because it's New Year's Eve. Then stand up at midnight, do a dance.
Viraj, you were one of my first guests.
Yeah.
I haven't talked to him in a while. A week or two. A month. A year? COVID? I don't know. Ay. Don't panic. My philosophy, even though occasionally I have to panic, but there is this feeling of like, you gotta kind of ride with what core information resonates with you, which is difficult when you're getting emotional, but like, what is the core truth that is useful to you to take that from? And then like, all right, does this affect you immediately? Is there anything you can do immediately? Because if there's nothing you can do, what good does panicking do it? Panic should call you to action, but if there's something you can do, like, oh yeah, do that stuff. But if you react immediately, it doesn't give you time to process fully the entire scope or to do the research to be like, wait, where did this come from? What's the lead up and how does it go?
Exactly.
Did you listen to the first episode?
Yes. So I mean, I realized we ended up talking about nothing at all. Actually, it's just.
Is that right?
Watch your 6 on the street.
Is that right? This is Viraj Chouhan. We saw him in episode 1.
Chouhan. Yeah. Interestingly enough, in Chinese, if you put a hyphen in the middle, it means good morning. Yeah.
Yeah, you named the episode The Story of New York.
Everyone has their own way around New York and story of New York.
So strange to have a vibe change from New York to Fremont, California.
Where is that?
It is like 40 minutes from San Francisco. It's like a massive Indian diaspora here.
Say that again, Viraj.
It's a massive Indian diaspora here.
I just have a feeling this is going to come up again.
All the food that you would get, like street Indian food, which you should not be getting on an American street, but you get it in America, in Fremont. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Both our countries are currently like in the propaganda whirlpool. Like India has an election in April and May, general election. So they'll choose the members for the center, which decides the laws and rules for the entire country.
And do you guys have a prime minister?
Prime Minister Modi. Oh, he's gonna win by a landslide, and he's gonna be permanent prime minister now. Modi is like the right wing. He's the Trump of India. He's Trump's best friend. In Texas when he came, there was Howdy Modi, which was all the fucking.
To me, in the right in America is so like. They can do anything absurd thing you would think like this is not who they are. Like, we love Moody. Howdy, Moody. Like, you're like, where did you get this information from?
Because the diaspora.
Diaspora from the Cambridge Dictionary online. A group of people who spread from one original country to other countries.
The Indian people here.
Or the act of spreading in this way.
NRIs love Moody for whatever reason, I don't know. And it just becomes, they feel like there's progress in India without realizing that it's only front-facing progress. They're hollowing out the rest of the country so that everything at front looks fantastic and people make a bunch of money. Again, fucking propaganda. It's advertising. It's gloss and veneer, smoke and mirrors. Hey,
it's me. So I just wanted to jump in here somewhere and talk about, I don't know if it's personal responsibility or focusing on ourselves a little bit in a new way, in a New Year's way, in a way that says, hey, I know there's a lot of stuff going on in the world that's unsavory, doesn't taste good. 2023 had a lot of stuff going on, and 2024 hasn't put an end to all of that. So here we are We have to still deal with a lot of the stuff that exists. What can we do as human beings to make the world better? I want to say something so profound that you're just like, 4 a.m. on a Wednesday morning. I can't sleep. But honestly, my brain is so tired. My brain is so tired. God, I get country sometimes. So this is the thing. I think the unnamed woman says it at the end of episode 2 as they ask for world peace and say, I think the best thing you can do is work on yourself. I love that line. It's something that I've heard before. I'm not saying this for the first time, that I've heard before. I've heard this and it's resonating with me now. And I'm wondering, can I help it resonate elsewhere? And that's the idea. That to me is the idea. Like the more centered you become, the more you breathe, the more conscious you are of how you are affected by your surroundings, by media, the more in tune you are with what makes you tick, the more you can become responsive rather than reactive. What I'm saying? What am I saying? What am I trying to say here? So this is what I'm trying to do. This is what I want to think about this episode, because like I'm talking with Viraj about propaganda, about advertising, about things that we are taught in someone else's service. We are taught these things to serve someone else, in service of some other principle, to service this community. Are you part of that community? Does this serve you? Does this information help you? Or does it put you in the position of operating at someone else's whim? Of declaring war on someone you don't know? Of coloring broadly, coloring in colors you may not even like, coloring outside the lines, color outside. That's like, you can color outside the lines. These are learned behaviors. These are things we've learned to survive in this world. In the world we live in, we've been taught certain things as a way to survive. But working on yourself, and I'm not giving you a lot of like great like tips here, just like thinking about working on yourself frees you from, it helps you look at what you've learned, right? What you've been taught over your life. You're just not going to get everything. There's no one on earth right now. Nobody, not a single person on earth that can just like read every book, that will just understand every concept. Like you can be really good with science and bad at people, good people, bad at science, good with people science and bad with science people. There's like a lot of ways to exist on this earth. The best thing you can do is be the best you. That's huge. When Trump was elected, they had the whole Russian interference. What stuck out for me was people saying like, you can't change my mind. I was going to vote for Trump, or I have always wanted this, or like, there was just like, there's no concept that like anyone else could affect the way that you think, right? And like, if you don't think that advertising can affect how you think, then you will not look for the things that advertising does, which is like make you feel like you want something that you don't need, or make you question something that previously was just unquestionable. But I guess what I want to talk to you about, there's advertisements, and then I was thinking like you get into political campaigns, advertising like that, sort of like what's the difference between that and like propaganda, right? Like, so where advertising is like convincing you need something, or you're helps you pick a side. I'm a Coke person, I'm a Pepsi person, whatever. I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican. Like you sort of pick sides as part of this. It feels more propaganda, but there's like an advertising equivalent to it, which is like you get the people invested in it, right? Like,
I think in a way, I was talking about this with Dhwani as well, because I kept finding similarities, and then I was like, wait, am I missing something? Like, what is the difference? And she basically said, like, advertising is coming. You don't know propaganda is coming. Advertising, even in today's day and age, even if it is guerrilla advertising, it is advertising. Propaganda tends to be a lot more surreptitious. It is a lot more well hidden, I would say.
you think so? I mean, you get a lot of advertisement that is like,
honestly, I'm not fully sure I agree with her, but
oh right, this is not your opinion, this is one.
Yeah, I mean, because on one hand I do agree with her, but then at the same time, we have now entered a time where propaganda is loud and stupid. So it's not like shying from being propaganda anymore. Like,
Oh, right. I think like this is the thing I've been thinking, like, yeah, right. You don't know it's propaganda if you think it's news. But I guess I would equate that to the articles that are written inside
yes,
the magazine that's like an ad. But even so, they have to say that, but they didn't
exactly.
voice, right?
That's
Like,
her point. So she says, like, even like on a news platform like Artifact, I would mistake an ad and propaganda for the same type of news, but the ad would be tagged as sponsored content. The propaganda I would have to decipher for myself.
yeah.
Which is, I think, the main, like, very dangerous little difference, because it takes more work and nobody wants to do more work. In my home country, it had the data control has reached honestly evil proportions now.
I know some places like India where it's like, I don't know if it's India, but like other places where like WhatsApp or Facebook or or like that's the internet.
That's the internet, basically the internet now. Oh, there's a lot. There's a long story on this. So way back in 2014, 13 or 14, Mark Zuckerberg and the Prime Minister of India, Modi, got into a very good business partnership with the richest family in India called the Adanis and Ambanis. And they planned this thing called Digital India, which started off as this. I may be getting this wrong, but its original name was Project Free Basics. The plan of Project Free Basics was to connect the lost billion. To connect by the lost billion, I mean the farmers, the people who are way below the income poverty line, way deep into the hinterlands and villages, to connect the unconnected billion. And people were like, okay, cool idea. And then when they dug deeper, they realized their idea of the internet was basically they were going to give them a phone, which was a geo-connected phone, which was going to have unlimited internet, only for Facebook and Instagram, and not even WhatsApp, only for Facebook and Meta related sites. Then Meta gets to decide which websites fit into the free category. But it became very clear to people who understood the internet that this was a walled garden. That if the free access is only to Meta, then Meta becomes the gatekeeper. Rather, Facebook becomes the gatekeeper. They get to choose who's free and who's not. And if the government has its foot on Meta's shoulder, on neck, then basically they are going to throttle and control all the information. So 2013, 14, when back in India, we still had some semblance of activism and actual worthwhile civil rights. We all banded together, and there's a massive movement on the internet, and we managed to take Facebook and the information board to court, and we got that shit overturned. Basically, Facebook was not allowed to bring free basics into India. It has been tested in Nigeria and a few other African markets and some South American markets, and it still exists there. And you can see the case studies on how it has fucked the people who don't have any money there. But we successfully blocked it from entering 2013, 14. 2015, they brought it back instead of calling it free basics, they called it Digital India, this time with government endorsement, with government branding. Not just privatized branding, but because previous time it was just private partners. This time they came back, Digital India is the new Indian frontier. We are all going to do this. Then somebody went down the website for Digital India and saw that the code file was actually still called freebasics.sgx or something. So people were like, holy shit, this is the exact same fucking thing. And then again, there was a whole fucking hue and cry, and it stopped. Then, during the pandemic, the government of India managed to pass a lot of information technology and privacy laws, one of which was banning TikTok. And during that entire thing, by banning TikTok, which was basically a threat to all the other companies, that basically, if you guys are not going to listen to us, we are going to shut you off from the entire Indian market. So banning TikTok was A, a move to throttle free speech, B, an open threat to everybody else that, hey, we are not joking around. We are going to actually do this shit and make your app defunct. And C, a last thing was to just get a complete control on all the social media that goes in India. So it's very fucking hard to find an opposing voice or a secondary opinion. Like there are pages I follow which used to have 2016, 17, like they used to have like 50, 60,000 likes per post in engagement. Literally today I was looking at the page, it's at 600. The followers haven't gone down. It's just their reach has been consistently cut.
They don't show it.
They don't show. They do not let it show up.
Wow.
That is the difference of propaganda and advertising, I think. Advertising can just buy media. Propaganda is media. I think like politics has become so close to advertising around the world that
Yeah.
people are just tuning in for entertainment. But that is not what politics is supposed to be, guys. That shit is deciding how our lives go. That shit is deciding how our kids and our futures will pan out. It's not entertainment. You shouldn't be dialing in for fucking drama. It's like asking politicians to wear their sponsor logos like NASCAR drivers, right? It's never gonna happen.
Who's paying for who's on your jacket? Oh my God.
It's just
I would tune in probably more to watch like some political conversations. If they were wearing stickers, no, Alan, I don't think that's a truth.
because I think there's that monkey brain inside us that loves shiny new things. So we will always want.
Yeah.
I think advertising just puts that want front and center. I think the nefarious part for me is when it becomes manipulative. Like when it says this figurine is going to give you the love of your life and make everything better. That is when it gets fucked up. If it says this figurine, here's this figurine, and this figurine is awesome, and this is what this figurine stands for. Okay, that's great advertising for me. But when you connect that figurine as the solution to so many other ills in your life that has nothing to do with it, we just need to be able to tell the difference of when we are being taken for a ride and when we are conscious of going along on that journey down the information highway. That's all I don't think anyone can choose or anyone can say how to pick what is right, but I think you can guard yourself from going wrong, I guess.
How do you do that? Guard going wrong.
I genuinely, my constant recommendation, I think that's the Banjara blood in me, which encourages wandering and meeting. But I honestly highly recommend meeting people you disagree with. Like I have as many right-wing friends and I have as many non-Indian friends as I have Indian and left-wing friends, because I heard this thing a long time ago, and I think it's one of the most important quotes. Movement requires friction. And you need a bit of friction. You need something rough so that both of you can move and everyone can grow forward. So I think if the way to break your echo chamber is to peep into the other one and have someone who's keeping you apprised of the other one, so that you know the information that you're receiving is not one-sided. That sounds like a question for a philosopher more than an advertiser of what do we want in life. Now I'm fucking going to sound like a philosopher because I'm going to quote one. So Aristotle had said, the mark of an intelligent mind is the ability to entertain two opposing ideas without accepting either. And I think that is fucking important. You need to be able to entertain, as even if it is fucking outrageous, you need to entertain that. And if both sides do that, you will realize where the middle ground lies.
Yeah.
You just have to entertain the other side's idea. That's all. You don't need to accept it. Just fucking entertain it. Then you know where they're coming from. They know where you are coming from. And you can find the middle of the accepting ground.
Yeah.
Big difference. People here just jump to, if this is my decision, I'm going to die on this hill. And it's just a fucking tennis ball you're standing on, bro. Just step to the side.
Step to the side. No, it's a freaking mountain. Step to the side. Step to the goddamn side. Just
entertain the idea. Just entertain the opposing idea.
Mountain. Oh, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to like and smash that subscribe button wherever you get podcasts. Where are you listening to this right now? Write me a letter. Send me an email at theyjustkeeptalking@gmail.com. That is our current email. That's the current email. And I got to give a big shout out to, again, my podcast trainer, Sydney. Thank you so much. This show, particularly this episode, only exists because she pulled a bunch of stuff together out of my crazy ramblings, which, you know, you still get enough of. I hope you enjoy. And I just wish you all the best for this coming year, and go after it. Hug it. Love it. It's your year. Every day is your day. Take care of yourself. Oh my God, Alan, I love you. Bye. I thought it was actually a learning moment for me. Because I'm more of a student, I guess. A student of life.
Permanently, bro.
Permanently.
Permanently.
Studying life. Oh yeah, also shout out Jake for his help on this episode, for knowing how to spot when something is too big. That is Jake's strong suit. He's like, that's too big. So let's do something different. Thanks, Jake. Oh my God, one more thing. Today is the anniversary of the first time I did the Innovative Mindset podcast with Isolda and Sergio and Megan. It's 2 years since I became a podcaster. The first episode came out on January 4th. Worth training and 2021. Shout out Isolda, Megan, and Sergio for helping me on this journey. And yeah, that's cool. 2 years. Ain't that something? I would tune in more if they were. I would be so fun. If they were like NASCAR, if they were running, if they were zooming around the room, if they were like woo 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 woo.